Hello everyone, and today I will be talking about how the Lip Sync Assassin format kinda failed. Since unlike a certain Drag Race content creator, I actually like Drag Race, before I talk about the negatives, I'm going to talk about some of the ways the format actually made the show better. I will first talk about some of the ways in which the format actually improved the show. The first way in which the Lip Sync Assassin format improved All Stars is through auditions. For most of All Stars, production had to pretty much guess who would succeed on All Stars and have a good fan reception, but with the introduction of the Lip Sync Assassin format, they could now allow competitors to do a test run for a single episode. This allowed for people like Jessica, Chanel, Angeria, and Jorgeous to actually audition for All Stars before they made it on. While some of these queens were always going to make it on, Jessica Wilde was relatively unknown to the modern fanbase, and I don't know if she would have been cast had she not gotten to slay that lip sync against Jan on All Star 6. The other way in which this format made Drag Race better is the various great lip syncs we got from it. Prior to this format, there were definitely still some great All Stars lip syncs, but if you were looking at a ranking, a lot of the performances on there are going to be from these 3 seasons. While the Lip Sync Assassin format did give us some pretty terrible lip syncs, if you are making a top 10, I would argue that at least half of them are probably going to have a Lip Sync Assassin. Now to look at the negatives of the format, the number one reason this format did not succeed is that it is literally designed to be boring. On All Stars 4, Drag Race production got completely backed into a corner. I fully believe that they went into the season wanting to give a double crowning to Team Latrilla, but since Latrice wasn't doing well, they settled for just crowning Manila. Unfortunately, at the final 6 makeover, Manila bombed, ended up in the bottom, and the 2 winners of the challenge, Naomi and Monet, both chose Manila to go home. While this made for great TV and production was definitely fine with it, I don't think they enjoyed that feeling of powerlessness, and I believe they made the Lip Sync Assassin format to prevent something like this from happening going forward. The Lip Sync Assassin format is almost inherently designed to prevent queens from making any big moves against frontrunners. We saw this with Shea Coulee. While there were 2 people that voted her out, 6 people voted for someone else. In the Lip Sync Assassin format, if you want to get rid of a big threat like Shea, one of the following things needs to happen. Number 1, you actively campaign against that person in front of them and it works, which is incredibly awkward, damaging to relationships outside the show, and a massive risk as there is no guarantee that you will succeed. Or number 2, win the challenge, pick their lipstick, and win the lip sync. If you do not win the lip sync, you now have a massive target on your back that will come back to haunt you when, if you're not in the top, you are in the bottom. Every single part of this format is tailor-made to prevent a frontrunner from getting eliminated. And that is almost exactly what we saw throughout every single vote we got in the Lip Sync Assassin format. All Star 6 was able to break this trend and have a few close votes, but none of them involved eliminating a frontrunner. A'keria and Silky had both been safe once, low once, and then in the bottom. With Jan and Scarlett, while Jan did have a win, she had 2 bottoms, and Scarlett was safe every week, and it was mainly just a question of how the queens weighted wins versus bottoms. Then for Jen and Pandora, it was the same. It was never a close vote to get rid of a frontrunner, and the only time someone who is even remotely a frontrunner was eliminated was Trinity at the final 5, and even then, she had been in the bottom 4 times. The second flaw with this format is that riggery is incredibly prominent. For 3 seasons, All Stars had the top 2 format, and the judging, while slightly controversial, was not awful. On All Stars 2, I would argue that the only top 2 that is even slightly up for debate is Jeremy, Alaska, and Detox in the acting challenge. For All Stars 3, it was Dela, Aja, and Shangela for Snatch Game, while All Stars 4 struggled with this a bit with Trinity vs. Gia and Manila vs. Naomi. The fact that there were 2 winning slots every week eliminated a lot of the controversy in terms of challenge wins. Then you look at the Lip Sync Assassin format and things get a lot worse. In All Stars 5 alone, in the months after the season, at bare minimum, India, Juju, and Shea's wins were all still up for debate, and this is a trend that we see a lot throughout this format. The fact that there is only one winner is one thing, but when you add in the Lip Sync Assassin format where someone can do second best in the challenge and still be up for elimination, this format generates a lot more controversy than the original format and ends up robbing a lot of queens as time goes on. On the topic of robbed queens, this format screws over at least 2 queens every season. On All-Stars 5, I think the main victims of this format are Alexis and Jujubee. Throughout her entire run on the season, Alexis was consistently good, and if we are going based off critiques and the prior formats that have been used, she would have won the talent show and Snatch Game. Then for Jujubee, I think she would have won the improv challenge, and then probably either the ball or Snatch Game. The usage of the Lip Sync Assassin twist on All-Star 6 yielded much more general results. While Trinity K. Bonet is definitely the most prominent victim of this, there were a lot of other more subtle victims throughout the season. In Trinity's case, not only did the format rob her of at least $20,000, had it not been for the top All-Star of the Week format, she would have won the Rusical and Design Challenge, having 4 wins, and had it not been for the if you're not in the top, you're in the bottom twist, she would have had 3 bottoms instead of 4. All this to say, I really think she would have made it to the end and had a great shot at winning, had it not been for this format. For the other queens, the format robbed Kylie of wins in Snatch Game and the Comedy Challenge, which would have made her win seem a lot more legitimate. Then in general, queens with more controversial wins like Jen and Ginger would not have gotten as much hate as they got had they not robbed someone like Eureka or Trinity of a win. In All-Stars 8, pretty much every strong competitor on the season other than Jimbo got screwed in one way or another. Candy Muse got screwed out of a win in the acting challenge. Jessica Wilde was in the top 2 for the improv challenge and the roast. Someone like Alexis or James getting a win in Snatch Game would have greatly increased their standing within the competition. Then we have Lala Ri, who is probably the most screwed queen of this cast. Had it not been for the top 2 format, she would have gotten wins in the Girl Groups Challenge and the Improv Challenge, which would have put her track record ahead of Candy, giving her a legitimate shot at making it to the top 4, if not the end. I will also add that as a result of the top All-Star of the Week format, we got the ridiculous final 3 elimination of Jessica Wilde. I'm putting the majority of blame for this on production for abusing this twist, but the final 3 elimination would not have been possible had it not been for the Lip Sync Assassin format. The final reason that this format failed was bad quote-unquote luck. On All-Stars 5, due to bad luck, and by bad luck I mean production, everything went horribly wrong. On episode 1, you lose Derek Barry, who is, and I mean this as a compliment, the most dramatic person on that cast. We saw that if you're not in the top, you're in the bottom format completely screw over Alexis. And the entire season as a whole, it is just very obvious that Shea is taking the crown. While none of these were a direct result of the Lip Sync Assassin format, the fact that the first season where we had the Lip Sync Assassin format went so badly left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Then for All-Star 6, we actually see the exact opposite as literally everything goes well, except the Lip Sync Assassin twist. There is entertaining drama, there is a balanced cast, there are good twists, and all around everything goes well, except for the Lip Sync Assassin format. On this season, there are a few controversial challenge wins that would have made a lot more sense with the top 2 format, and as a more general thing, Trinity K. Bonet was pretty much screwed in every possible way. She was robbed of wins by the top All-Star of the Week format, and then she was given unnecessary bottoms because if you're not in the top, you're in the bottom. All this to say, we've now had 2 seasons back-to-back with this format, and neither one of them has done much to make this twist look like a positive thing. The final season that is aired with the twist is All-Stars 8, hopefully this is the last season with this twist. Everything once again went horribly wrong. The Fame Games twist was a great idea that got screwed in the last minute by the vote multipliers. There were constant needless twists and judging decisions to try and tank the performance of literally anyone other than Jimbo, and as a whole, the entire season was very obviously rigged and designed for Jimbo to win. While I'm not going to say that the twist is inherently bad based off the execution we saw and the reception we saw, I don't think we're gonna see it back. All-Star Seasons 5 and 8 got completely destroyed by production interference, resulting in the twist looking very bad. Then on All-Star 6, the only season that actually worked in general, the twist comes to completely destroy that positive energy, it screws Trinity and results in Kylie being viewed as a low-tier winner. Overall, I definitely understand what production thought they were doing. If you are designing a season with the sole intention of crowning a specific queen, I understand why this is something you would want to go for. Unfortunately, as a viewer, it does not make for an enjoyable experience, and I think production realized that a little too late. I think if either All Stars 5 or All Stars 8 had actually succeeded, we probably would have seen it stick around, but I think the format flopping 2 of 3 times was kind of the kiss of death. Do you want non-Emmy nominated gay shit? Well then you should check out the RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged YouTube channel and hit subscribe.